All right, we've made it to day 29, and we have read Genesis chapter 22 through Genesis chapter 24. Before we get into that, thank you so much for taking the opportunity to join us in this video. I hope you are finding your reading this year to be enjoyable and informative and a huge blessing to you. If you have not yet accepted the invitation to join us in the yearly Bible reading program, please check the description box below, and you'll be able to access the YouVersion Bible app directly using the link, and you'll join a community of believers all across the country reading the Bible all the way through until we reach the end. And so we'd love for you to be a part of the journey, a part of the community, and we hope you will enjoy the feedback that you're getting from other readers, and you will provide feedback for us to enjoy as well. So again, today we are at day 19, and we're reading Genesis chapter 22 through Genesis chapter 24, and we're continuing in this life of Abraham, which is full of all sorts of great practical understandings or information about how we should live as believers in this world. We saw where in the last reading and yesterday's reading, Abraham was finally given the son that he had been promised nearly 25 years ago. And here we are in chapter 22. God is telling him to take that very son and offer him as a sacrifice to the Lord. And you can just imagine what might have been going through the mind of Abraham as he heard these instructions. But what I love about Abraham is he never hardly ever he speaks on the things that God is telling him to do. No matter how challenging they are, he always seems to be a man of action. And it goes back to the premise that James has for Abraham's faith, that Abraham's faith is not one that is just spoken or one that is just confessed or declared, but Abraham's faith is one that is lived. It is one that is acted upon. And we see that over and over again, but probably nothing solidifies this idea of faith like what we're reading in chapter 22. And what I love about the text is when God sees Abraham's willingness to take his son's life and offer him as a sacrifice, he intervenes. And this is what he says in Genesis chapter 22, verse 16. Because you have obeyed me and have not withheld even your son, your only son, I swear by my own name that I will certainly bless you. I will multiply your descendants beyond number, like the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will conquer the cities of their enemies, and through your descendants, all the nations of the earth will be blessed, all because you have obeyed me. Here's the principle. When we obey, when we have faith, faith is often and always, almost always, backed by an act of obedience. In other words, you cannot say you have faith and not obey, and you cannot obey and say you cannot have faith. Now, you may hold to some sort of ritual, but when you're truly living a life in obedience to God, that sort of obedience requires an act of faith. And we see that with Abraham here. And what I love about this is that this action of faith is actually a message not to God, because God knew what Abraham was made of. He knew the kind of things, stuff that he was made of. But it was more so a message to the angels who were obviously watching. Notice what happens in verse 10. And Abraham picked up the knife to kill his son as a sacrifice. And at that moment, the angel of the Lord called him and said, Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not hurt him in any way, for now I know, the angel speaking, know that you truly fear God. You have not withheld from me even your son, your only son. It is amazing in this passage that, again, God is not trying to prove anything to himself or show himself something that he doesn't know, but he knows exactly what Abraham was going to do in this circumstance, and he used it as a means of conveying to the angels, who, by the way, were beholding everything, watching, what real faith looks like. What kind of human is found in the earth that is filled with chaos, filled with evilness, filled with wickedness. There is actually someone there who can and who does believe in me wholeheartedly. And I often draw that parallel, that comparison to ourselves, and wonder, what are the angels saying about our lives as they watch, as they see us confessing Jesus? What are they saying about us when they see us live from day to day? So this is powerful, and it's something that we can all learn from. Now, of course, in chapter 23, we witness the death of Sarah. And we also see in chapter 24 that there is a continuation, there's an intentional continuation that Abraham places on making sure his seed follows in the way that God has prescribed to him. So he signifies that by instructing his servant to find an appropriate wife for him that will understand, participate in the plan that God has not only for Isaac, but for the entire lineage that will come from his seed. So we see a lot of things developing here, and it's very important that we pay attention because, again, this is not just God's way of giving us, obviously good information, but it's a way of, firstly, pointing us to Jesus Christ. How do we get from Adam to Jesus Christ? What is God doing? How does he do it? And then secondly, we develop, as we understand the story unfolding, we develop principles for how we should live on earth as we prepare to go to heaven. So brothers and sisters, I'm really excited about all of this. I hope you're learning a lot. Hope you're picking up a lot. I would encourage you to leave feedback, leave comments in the description box below. Let us know what you're learning. Let us know what you're discovering. And we'd love to be a part of the journey with you. Until next time, thank you for watching. Take care, God bless, and live by the word.